program 360 degrees. The second term of the academic year is at the corner. The second term holiday, rather, it is at the corner, and people's students and teachers will be off for 2 weeks to celebrate the Easter break, of course. But the third term, which is the last term of the academic year, is proving some uncertainties as teachers are announcing a strike action if some of the demands they have tabled to the government are not yet made. In a press conference this week, the teachers tabled a 6-point demand to the government through the Prime Minister, head of government, demanding that they should be addressed before the 21st of April. If not, from the very first day of the third term, which is the 21st, they will be launching a week-long strike action. And today we are asking the question, why the persisting strike action within the school milieu? Why are teachers always threatening? Or why are teachers always going on strike? Who is not doing what to make sure the situation gets regulated? If you are just joining us, this is 360 degrees, and we will be with you for the next 1 hour. Like I earlier indicated, of course, teachers are threatening once again. The history of the OTS is still very fresh in the minds of many Cameroonians. And if care is not taken, we may go the same direction as from April the 21st. But we pray it shouldn't be that way. So today we are trying to look at the demands of the teachers as they met on Wednesday in a press conference in Yaoundé, informing the press that they have tabled a number of demands for the government to address. And to discuss this very important topic, I was fortunate to have two spokespersons of the Association of Teachers Organisations of Cameroon, and best known with its French acronym as Collectif des Organisations des Enseignants du Cameroun, abbreviated COREC. So I will begin by welcoming them before we get to the other two people that are on set today. I will begin with Mr. YUNGSI MOH. Did I get the YUNGSI correct, sir?
Yes, you got it right.
Yes, he is one of the spokespersons of the Association of Teachers Organisations of Cameroon, COREC. This is your very first time you are coming to this set. You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chia. This is my first time of coming to Canal 2. Thank you so much for the invitation. Just to start by saying that education is not just learning facts, but it is to train minds so that they can think. And then we are, as guarantors of that education, we are out to train minds, and those minds are supposed to think. Those minds are supposed to create employment. Those minds are supposed to bring change to our communities. So if we want to train people who will just be there to repeat what they have been told or read and write, then we have failed. Okay. And that is our mission. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Due to the importance of the topic, we had to bring two of them so that at least by the end of this program, our televiewers should be able to know exactly what the problem is, where we are heading to. And that is why we equally brought Madame Désirée, KAPTCHE. Did I get the KAPTCHE well? Madame Désirée KAPTCHE is also one of the spokespersons of COREC. You are welcome, Madam.
Thank you, Mr. Chia. And thank you for inviting me here. I am Madame KAPTCHE Désirée. I am a teacher presently teaching in government bilingual practicing high school Yaoundé. Okay. And what I can add to what my comrade just said is that education is not just about teaching or learning. It's about grooming a creative being who grow to become citizens capable of answering or bringing out solutions to current problems of the society. Okay. So if the children that are put into our hands cannot come out being able to solve day-to-day life problems in their society, then it is a failure, yeah.
Sure. By my right, I have Abel SAMERI. Abel SAMERI is a journalist, and he doubles as the Director of Information at Royal FM, based here in Yaoundé. Abel, you're welcome.
Thank you so very much, Hyncenth. It's a pleasure for me to be with you this afternoon. I want to say thank you for honoring me, but you also forget to add that I'm a former teacher, because before becoming a journalist, I've spent a good number of time in the classroom.
So you know where the shoe pinches.
Teaching the primary school,
yeah.
And you know, when you say you teach primary school, it means you are dealing with young minds and teachers. So it's a pleasure for me to give me that opportunity to also talk about the group of people that we have decided to reduce them to bitter leaf eaters while we eat ndole. You know the difference between bitter leaf and ndole is just the granite that we put inside.
Okay, everyone, we shall get to that. Okay, the last person on the panel this evening, we are always honored because whenever we knock at his doors, he always opens and comes out to contribute to very pertinent issues, and we are very grateful. Mr. Ernest AKOUFOU, who is a civil society actor and a political analyst. You are welcome once again, sir.
The pleasure is shared, Hyncenth, and I want to say good afternoon to my co-panelists and the viewers out there. It has always been a pleasure being on this panel to talk topical issues. You know, each and every one of us is a teacher par excellence.
Okay.
Yeah, because even if we are not doing it in a formal way, in a classroom setting, yeah. Even back at home, we are teachers, because at every 1 second, we are telling our children, don't do this, do this, don't do this, do this. Okay. So I share in the plight of the teachers who have been relegated to a position which is not admirable.
Okay. You have the same notion of ndole and bitter leaf?
Ndole and bitter leaf, I have a notion which is much more worse than that. The assault of children and students on their teachers is much more worse than ndole and bitter leaf.
Okay. Thank you so much, gentlemen and lady. You permit us, with the help of our producer, Thierry Kamto, who will be able to revisit the press conference of last Wednesday.
The government's solemn commitment of December 2, 2016 to organize a National Education Forum in 2017 remains unfulfilled. The Teachers Organization of Cameroon sees the non-fulfillment of this promise and the non-implementation of other suggested reforms as a slap in the face of the educational community.
We will no longer allow the government to procrastinate and postpone this deadline indefinitely. We will demand a precise schedule and guarantee for the implementation of the recommendations that will emerge from it.
The demands of the trade unionists include special status for teachers, regularization of all staff working in public schools, immediate payment of allowances due to examiners, and the valorization of working conditions for private teachers.
We will no longer allow our profession to be devalued and disrespected. We want a status that reflects the importance of our role in our society. A status that allows us to live decently from our profession and to dedicate ourselves fully in our mission.
The COREC officials promise to match words with actions should their plea fall on deaf ears.
COREC is prepared to use all legal means conferred upon it by law, by mobilization, demonstration, strikes, examination boycotts, to achieve its demands. So we pray on government to collaborate with us.
The teachers' organization remains open to constructive and sincere dialogue with the state, but however emphasizes that no further promises will be considered progress until further action is taken.
I want to thank Ate Bonaventure for that report. Before we get into the different demands, maybe you just situate us, COREC. Who are members of COREC?
Thank you so much for the question, Mr. Chia. COREC is made up of trade unions and other organizations that are fighting for teachers' rights. We have OTS, which in French is on a trop supporté. In English, enough is enough. We also have OTA, it's also in French, on a trop attendu. So all of these slogans are a way of telling us that teachers have waited for long. They have endured just a lot. So all of these people come put together, make up COREC. So COREC is some kind of a family house where everyone is welcome and everyone is already in the house. That is what we call COREC. And just to add that COREC has been in existence for over a year. And we have carried out a number of activities. We have tried to contact the authorities of the country to remind them of the plight of the teachers. And the press conference of this week was the first of its kind. And we wanted to invite media personnel like you and the parents of the learners we teach so that they should understand why we strike sometimes. Because sometimes we have conflict with the parents of learners because they do not have that knowledge of why we are always striking. So wanted to play a pedagogic role vis-a-vis the parents of our learners.
When I go through the document sent to the PM, I see over 17 signatures. Are they, can we say COREC is made up of about 17 associations?
Actually, yes. COREC came out to solve the problem of the multiplicity of trade unions because divided, it was like a weak point for us to tender our demands. So COREC gathers all trade unions from all the sectors of education. We have private sector trade union, we have training schools, professional sectors, we have secondary, we have basic, we have English, because you know that the English subsystem they have their trade union, as you can have the example of TAC and KAPTCHE, which are Anglophone trade union. We have all of them, OTS, OTA, all of them, we decided to come together to speak with one voice so that they will not use the division policy to dismantle our actions.
Just to add that we don't have only 17 members. COREC has far more than 17 members. If you look at the signatures we have here, OTS, for example, is not there. But we all know the story of OTS. So it's an indication that we have so many other members who are not included here. This maybe would have added extra sheets to have all the stamps and signatures.
Let me just stay with you, gentlemen. I will come to you, but let us just give the teachers the pride of place. What is pushing you guys now, maybe to say we want to go on a week-long strike? We've listened to that report, but it was quite short. I want us to go deeper than what we have in that report.
And the time is not longer anyway. The report was short. The time that we have is not long enough for us to explain.
Try to get to the key
maybe I want to start from the historical perspective. Teachers have been going through a lot of things. The paper you have here, I'm sure you have one.
Yes, I have a copy.
It's just a summary. You know that UNICEF liaises with governments, and the policy, and governments have engaged themselves to those policies, is that governments should give at least 20% of the national budget to education. I think in 2025, if I'm not making a mistake, the budget that was allocated to education as a whole, when I talk about education, I'm thinking about the Ministry of Higher Education, the Ministry of Secondary Education, all the other ministries that have to do with the training of young Cameroonians, is only 14%. And let me shock you, that is even the highest percentage since budgets. You can go and check in finance laws. So this is a clear proof that it is not going. The government does not have education as its priority. Now, our demands have been summarized. We have the National Forum on Education. It is a very important forum because our educational system does not match with the demands of the society.
Okay.
They don't match with the demands of our economy. They don't match with the demands of our development. And we train people who come out to beg for employment.
To be job seekers.
Yes, instead of creating that employment. Let me quickly summarize them. So we have that National Education Forum. That maybe if I want to go to the details, I will tell you that we have been waiting for over 9 years.
Okay.
And
since 2016?
2012, we have been clamoring for that. And in 2016, there is a note that was signed by the Prime Minister himself.
Yeah.
And that forum was supposed to take place in 2017. You look at it. Because some people say that teachers, you are disturbing, you make a lot of noise, you are not the only Cameroonians. But we have been waiting for 9, I'm talking about 9 straight years.
Okay.
If you take 9 years, divide by maybe a year by months, you have 12 months times 9. How many months have we been waiting? How many days? We have that one that has been waiting. We have other things. For example, we have heads of departments in our schools. They do a lot of work. I've done that before, and I know what it entails. Sometimes you have to spend sleepless nights. So you don't want to work at school. You also work at home. And imagine the kind of issues you can have with the family at large. So head of departments, another thing that is worrisome is that the president signed a decree in 2012.
Okay.
The president of the Republic of Cameroon, the highest authority, saying that head of department should be paid an allowance of 15,000 francs every month. And this is how many years down the lane? 13 years. And that has not been applied. Okay. As we have already written to the regional delegates who are supposed to do those appointments, they have not done that. Okay. So there are just so many of them.
Maybe give us a picture.
It's really an aberration to call a trained personnel a parent teacher, because these are workers. Maybe you permit me to remind us here of the 4 pillars of decent work. Okay. The first pillar is a productive work, and those parent teachers actually do a productive work. Just look at remote villages where they are alone, a single teacher teaching class 1, class 2, the other one teaching class 3, class 4, and they succeed in training those children into reading, writing, and reciting. They are doing a productive work. The second pillar is well remunerated with fair wages. Okay. These parent teachers receive, some of them, I know of one who received 10,000 monthly. It's really scandalous. I cannot, in fact.
In a rural area or in Yaoundé?
In a rural area.
Okay.
How can you receive 10,000? Even transportation, it cannot even sustain the transportation for that teacher.
Maybe the 10,000 is not even regular.
It's not even regular. Then the third pillar is social security. Okay. Those, as they are called parent teachers, they don't have any working contract. They don't have any contract. And there is no guarantee. There is no security for the workplace. Okay. And the concept of parent teachers itself, it's an aching concept. Okay. It's something that is really painful. You cannot subdue an adult to such working condition, of which the parents trained and paid for the training. The professional is a trained teacher. How can people lack professionals in other countries? Just go to Congo here. There are no professionals, but we have professionals. And how do we treat them? It's really, really regrettable.
Okay. Abel, I'll come to you. Ernest, you listen to the 2 trade unionists on the panel. Maybe your first take on the different problems they have highlighted.
Well, it's very disheartening listening to them, because these are people who build the society. But when you listen to them and see the type of treatment which they have been made, I'm flabbergasted. Because I've schooled in a rural area.
Okay.
Yes, and in those days, teachers were, although their pay packages were not all that consistent, but they were given the due respect. And those pay packages were regular anyway. But when I begin to listen to, especially when I listened to that interview of the press conference of the other day and the demands, you begin to see that apparently the teaching corps is the lone corps which has just too many problems in this country.
Okay.
Yeah, because they haven't got a status.
You
Every
think so?
day they are, I say apparently, they are one of the corps.
Okay.
Yes, which has just too many problems. They don't have a status. They keep clamoring for it. Some of them have just poor working conditions, as I did hear Madam mentioned there, as she tried to describe. And then other advantages which some other corps of the civil service have, some teachers don't have. Although some would tell them they have 3 months of vacation which they are paid. No, it doesn't suffice. It's so disheartening. And I think that their demands will be heeded too this time around. I want to say they should hold firm. Their demands will be heeded too, because this is an electoral year, and there is no room for any quack. Yes. Thank God they did it beforehand. Between now and April, things will be done. Okay. I'm very, very convinced, because nobody wants any wahala during this election year. Okay. So I'll tell them they should be courageous and be steadfast. Something will be done. You see, somewhere along the line, I want to think that the ombudsmen are the problem in what the teachers are facing. Okay. Because the head of state had signed that they should be disinterested. But it's rather unfortunate, some people somewhere are sitting on it and doing it piecemeal, which doesn't work well. Yes, because these teachers are the people, the first people who are supposed to be well treated in every society. Yes, because I went through a teacher. The President of the Republic went through a teacher. Medical doctors went through a teacher. Journalists went through a teacher. But why are they treated in a mean manner? Okay. I don't know why.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ernest AKOUFOU. Abel, you and I, we did a couple of reports on OTS last year, the other year, every year. Now we are at the verge of maybe living another situation where teachers say they want to abandon school for 1 week because they have a couple of demands that, if not yielded to, things will not go the way maybe the government wants.
And that is why I'm asking myself, how pushful would the teachers be the time? Because you rightly said we have worked a lot, giving out the necessary information concerning the plight of teachers. Okay. And it seems as if it is falling on the deaf ear. Some people have decided to turn the teacher to be their housekeeper, or to do whatever thing they want to do with them. This takes me to remember what Nelson Mandela once said, that if you want to destroy a nation, you should not look for a weapon of mass destruction. Okay. You should just destroy the educational system, because from there we are going to have fake doctors who are going to administer fake drugs to the individuals or to the people, and so obviously people will die. Sure. We are going to have fake drivers who are going to cause a lot of road accidents, and from there we are going to have citizens that will die. We are going to have fake constructors who are going to construct fake houses, and the houses will collapse. It seems as if that is what we are actually witnessing in Cameroon this time, because it is so hardened to believe, like what AKOUFOU said. It is so an aberration for us to think that at this point in time, because some years back they told us that Cameroon economy will emerge by 2035. We are 10 years into that project, and I don't know how successful the plight of the teachers will change within these 10 years. It is a lot of issue. We might be looking more on the teachers who are working on the government sector. But you look at their life, it's not better. But I think there is a group of people, Mr. Isaac just said, that it includes even those of the private education. I think that those are the group of people that have been completely abandoned, especially those teaching in the mission school. She talked about 10,000 francs. I've gotten a situation where you see a teacher is so sick and is even waiting for the PTA to give the little. We have seen a situation clean, the outside is still dirty. How do we expect our teachers to build the Cameroon that we need when they are hungry? That is why sometimes we will be the first as parents to rush to the media and say that the teachers are eating the food of our children. But these people are facing a lot of difficulties. I want to share a bit of experience so that those who are listening to us will understand. I remember one day my little girl came and met me that, "Daddy, my teacher is suffering.
Okay.
Take her to the hospital." And do you know what that woman was suffering from?
No.
A common disease which is treatable, pie. And the pie comes as a result because they sit for a longer period in the class, move with these children. We have seen teachers who have gone blind because of the quality of the chalk they use. We have seen teachers who at one point they cannot stand up because their hands are shaking. But how are we going to prepare for these people? There was a letter written by one a teacher from the southern part of the country. You know, he talks about the fact that he has taught for a very long time and he has gone to school. There is no promotion, meaning that there is no career orientation in our society. How do we expect to have good products? That is why our teachers, our children back at home are becoming rebels, and that is why you see this has even pushed the teachers in our society to involve in dubious activities within our school, like the trafficking of drugs, like all this time. But when we were growing up, Hyncenth, the fear of the teacher was the beginning of wisdom and beginning for a better family.
Okay, thank you.
For those who know that statement, they should hang on it.
Thank you so much. If you are watching us from wherever, you have the opportunity to contribute to our talking points. And we already have a series of messages. This one is pretty long, but I will take it because it seems to be very important. Thanks. Greetings to the 360 crew. Thanks so much for educating the public. Kudos on COREC for the great work. I wish to express my worry as a teacher. Why do we mark the GCE but only get paid the following year? As I speak to you, our outstation allowance for GCE 2024 marking session has not been paid. Why should teachers always be treated as slaves by their own former colleagues who are not or who are now in power? These administrators were former teachers, but despite the educational sector, immediately they climbed
the ladder.
But despite the educational sector, immediately they climbed to power. My question to the COREC members is, shall the teachers in Cameroon ever receive the honor and the treatment he or she deserves? Okay, maybe when I look at one of the 6 points, you have dignity and special status for teachers. In essence, what do you want as content of special status for teachers?
Maybe before I come to your question, let me just react to the colleague's question.
Yes.
He's talking about the GCE board. And people who mark exams that are set or that are conducted by the baccalaureate board, they see people who mark the exams set by the GCE board as those in heaven.
Okay.
So those of the back board are crying, and looking at those of the GCE board as those who are really in heaven. And see them, they are also complaining. Yeah. So we have not put that as one of our grievances. I mean, the GCE board. That is to tell you that we have not put everything on the table.
Yeah.
The issue of the baccalaureate board is even more terrible because we have teachers who mark exams, who deliberate exams, who work even up to Sunday on exams. Results are released. Parents even go ahead to pay extra money in order to receive the children's results.
Okay.
As much as 150 francs per parent. I want to spare you from doing the calculations to have the millions or maybe the billions that the baccalaureate board receives.
Yeah.
But they don't pay.
Okay.
Sometimes they stay for 2 years. How much are we talking about?
Which are the excuses they give?
Sometimes this money is not up to 50,000. And teachers, some of them, category A2, that is the highest category in the public service in Cameroon. They wait for 2 years. Okay. They have just made teachers to be like babies. So they wait, and
In the course of waiting, what did they tell you?
What did they? Nothing.
They don't communicate.
In January, COREC, as I told you, we have carried out a lot of activities already as COREC.
Yeah.
COREC wrote to the baccalaureate board to tell them that this thing is not good. Please change. Pay us.
Okay.
They did not reply. We have also asked the back board, please revalorize the payment amounts that you give to the teachers, because it has not changed for long. Yet, students who pay or candidates who pay for those examinations, there is an increase from time to time. But teachers' dues are never increased and are never even paid on time.
Okay.
So you see, it is, I don't know how to describe it.
Okay.
Maybe as Mr. Abel said, it is really people that we really have people who eat ndole on the one hand and others who eat bitter leaf.
Okay.
Yes.
Maybe let me transfer the question of the special status to her.
Yes, please.
Yes. What exactly do you need as content of special status for teachers?
Yeah, the content of the special status cannot be named here detail by detail.
Yeah, just briefly.
It's just a rethink of the teachers' particular status that was written in 2002.
Okay.
And that was the substance of that particular status was removed by the government with all the strikes and everything. We think, for example, an example of one element in that special status, that it is not fair that the index calculation for teachers is 40% lower than the index calculation of civil servants of other corps at the same level.
Okay.
It is not fair. We also think that it is not fair for teachers not to have health security, health insurance, because as the colleague there said, here am I wearing lenses, and many teachers face the same problem because of job. We have diseases that come as a result of the profession we have chosen to do.
Okay.
There are career profile for the teacher. All these are discussed in the special status.
Okay.
And this, according to me, should not even be a cause for discussion, because everything is so glaring.
Okay.
And the unjust and unfair treatment of teachers, everybody can see that, except those who choose not to see.
Okay.
And you know what we're talking about.
Okay, we have a series of messages flowing in. Let me just take this one. It's pretty long, but I'll just try to summarize because greetings, great minds in the studio. The topic is very good, and I have this to say. Yes, teachers have to be treated well, but the cry should be for private teachers and primary school teachers first. Government secondary school teachers work in their schools just for 2 days and some, not up to 2 days, but they earn over 250,000 francs as salary and more a month. While private teachers work from Monday to Saturday, morning to evening, get exploited by proprietors and is not able to take home 120,000 francs. If I should get this person well, and that was the next question I was about to ask you, because we have issues of overstaffing in some schools in Yaoundé, where overstaffing rather. Some schools in Yaoundé where some teachers go to school once a week. They have the time to do other things, but they are still complaining.
Can I? Okay, let me quickly. Hyncenth.
Maybe they should answer.
Hyncenth, please. I beg to answer that question.
Yes, Ernest AKOUFOU.
Because I've lived it. I'm living it.
Okay.
I want to say, teachers of the private sector are marginalized and maltreated. Yes, they live below the poverty line.
Okay.
That is verifiable, it's factual. Because when I tried my hand at teaching, some years I think some morning to 5 o'clock. And at times they will give you the 55,000 in two phases. Two phases.
Okay.
Just like to tell you, if you are not happy, you can get away. So
they give you as though they are doing you a favor.
Yeah, like as if it were a favor that they're giving to you. So I want to say, as the rightly said, in the writer said, in the public sector, the teachers, they have all the time to do what they can do. Some don't even go to school. Yes. It's verifiable. Some don't go to school, well, except with the new method by the Ministry of Public Service and Administrative Reforms, wherein you must sign in and sign out. But I would say the situation in the private sector is alarming. Yes, and there is cause for concern. And I think it were time for the stakeholders to call another national forum on education, because there are very many things which are going wrong. Some of the school proprietors are business people. They care less about the plight of the teachers. Yes, because if you look at schools where the proprietors, people who have undergone some teaching or who are teachers, the treatment there is let me say a little bit different, but different. But when you see the businessmen, they care less about you. Yes, they can pay you, they'll promise you they'll pay you by the 20th, but they end up paying you 15th of the next month, and all of that is frustrating, you know. And the output is not there. The children, they suffer, or the pupils and students, they suffer. So there is always an effect, a cause, effect on all of that. So stakeholders must sit up, and I think their demands this time around will be welcomed and they'll be treated. I keep saying it because I know what I'm saying. Okay,
Abel, I see you itching to react.
There are a number of issues that we need to bring on board, because I heard the listeners are coming up with certain issues, and some of us have done a bit of research on that domain. I want to cite some examples so that we reason together. First of all, one of our televiewers talked about the problem of a teacher as a teacher. And it is true, you go to most ministries, most of the secretaries, most of the collaborative staff are those who have left. They have all abandoned the schools without even some having formal transfer from their ministry of core, but just because they know a politician who has been appointed somewhere and they want to become the private secretary, they abandon the service. And there's another point we say, there are some teachers who don't go to school. There are some teachers who teach once a week. I have a situation where I once report on it. A woman doesn't go to school. When he was convocated by the principal, he told the principal that I'm the wife to a renowned politician. And sometimes when my husband is going out, I need to accompany my husband. She doesn't come to school. What does the principal happens to do? What? Look for what she called the parent teacher to be able to fit that gap, because the children must be able to, or must have their lessons. The problem we are facing in the educational sector is sometimes when politics comes into it, it causes the type of situation we have. We have overcrowded schools in Yaoundé because there is a government policies that say that where your husband works, the wife needs to be there because they need that family union. And most of the men work in the capital. And now they are forced. They force the ministry to transfer their wives to some of these schools. And when they go to these schools, you see, for example, geography can have almost 10 teachers. And now the principal to give even distribution. Sometimes we should talk to these people. They will explain difficulties they go through. Sometimes the aspect that I am the wife of this renowned person, I'm the wife of this, also comes in. So the issue is, I strongly believe that if we have the National Forum of Education, some of these issues might be put into place. You brought up the issue of the status of teachers. Permit me say something. That is where I hang a lot. We cite another example. If you take, for example, what happens in Tanzania, where they are developing more of online teaching. If you go on the internet, you type everything, you will see how their teachers do. What happens there is that they have a statute. Once you are a teacher trained, they know that this is the minimum salary. And from there, they know that, okay, if you happen to teach after 1 year, they know that you have gathered a number of experience. Your salary need to move from this grade to this grade. And they know that when you teach for 5, 10, 20 years, that is how you keep, it is natural. It's not somebody that needs a presidential degree or that will tell you that we need a text of application. But if we don't have this type of situation, that is why you see some of the old folks in the teaching corps will tell you that I've been a classroom teacher for 25 years, 30 years, I've never gotten any appointment. Then you see a younger person who has all the network and all the like, you see he comes out from school the next 1 or 2 days, that if they find themselves into the classroom, they are appointed senior discipline masters, they are appointed principals, they are appointed head of department, because these old guys believe that, no, we can follow them. But if you have this statute-oriented, you know that I am going into this call, I've been here for 1 year. If I teach successfully this year, recommendation coming from my hierarchy, I'm going to change grades. And even if I'm moving from one school to another, do you know that, Hyncenth, there are some secondary schools in Yaoundé where the teachers receive 500 francs per hour in teaching? In the private school? In the private school. Yes. There are some private schools in primary schools in Yaoundé. If they pay you too much, you have 35,000, 40,000 francs. And what do you expect? It is the children that will suffer. That is why we have the sex for marks. That is why we have tell your parents that we want to do practical in cooking. You give them money, they cook the food, and they happens because the teachers need to feed. We need to take care of our teachers, because there are 2 types of education, the informal and the formal. Where we fail to do at home, they must correct it in school so that we have better Cameroonians in future.
Yes, madam, maybe as you want to take the... What have you proposed as a framework so far to regulate the situation in the private sector?
You know, it is the place of the Minister of Work and Social Security.
Labor.
Yes.
Labor, yes. And Social Security to regulate. But since 2016, they proposed a collective agreement for the private sector of education.
Understand? So these private teachers, they tell them, hey, we cannot say anything. We cannot even talk on the microphone. Because if the proprietor sees my face or hear my voice on the radio, I am finished. So what do you expect? You need to empower them. You need to do a lot of research.
Exactly where I wanted to land. Why has this collective agreement not been signed? First of all, because we have business people who create schools. We are talking about commodification of education.
With the only thing which is a business mindset.
Yes.
Capital.
Secondly, the regulation, the instance, the government that needs, because we have to remind the audience here that education is a fundamental right. It is the duty of the state to guarantee quality education for all its citizens. So be it private or public sector, it is the duty of the government to have a watching eye on everything that is done. They open schools on I don't know what criteria. They don't follow up what is done in those schools. Now let's talk about workers of the private sectors. They are exploited, they are abused, and the absence of job security in Cameroon is such that people are even willing to lie down, because if they lose that job, there is no other job opportunity elsewhere. So the whole condition, that's why we said training citizens that are able to provide solutions to current prevailing problems. So the issue of the private sector is a call for concern for all of us, not only the government, but all the country, all the citizens of the country. Because we need to understand that where we want our society to go to, it should go through arranging or regulating that sector too. They do the same work as the public sector teachers do.
Mr. YUNGSI, don't you think the timing of the strike action is problematic?
Let me just add a word to the question someone asked before I come to that question. I hope I will not forget it.
Yes, you won't.
Let me ask you a question. I know you are the one asking questions here.
That one is rhetorical, right?
you have 2 children. One has maybe child A has 8 on 10, on 20, sorry. And then child B has 5 on 20. Which of these children has passed? Has any of them passed the exams?
Come again?
No. You have 2 children. One has 8 on 20. The other has 5 on 20.
The 2 are below average?
Yes. None
has passed.
So that's exactly what is happening between the private and the public sector.
Okay.
Yes. The public sector is better off when you compare with the
20.
private sector. Yes, it's better off. Okay. But it is nowhere. It is not even close to average. Okay. That's what we are saying. And we have not, as I said, we have these signatures here. Yeah. All of us are together. There is no division this time around. Okay. Private sector is with us here. Okay. And the public, all of us are together. So maybe the colleague, or I don't know whether it's a colleague who has a question, does not know that everything, we have put everything together. We don't want to work in in division.
Let us come back to the question. Yes. This is the second term getting to an end. And we are getting to the third term, which is a crucial term. We have children that will be writing the final year exams.
Yeah. Yes.
The government come in charge the first.
So don't you think this timing is problematic?
Very good question. I think maybe some other people will say we are manipulated. I think some have said that in the past.
That is a common language.
Yes, and we are expecting that to come up.
Okay.
And the question is, you manipulate teachers, people who have gone to school, people to whom you are given the assignment to take care of your children, to train them. So the timing is just perfect. We have not just come out from nowhere to start asking for these things.
Okay.
I have explained to you, since 2012, we have been writing, we have been talking, we have been striking, we have been doing things, we have been advocating. We had, how did they call it, SAIC, which was enseignement collectif des enseignements indignes, disgruntled teachers. Yes. And later on we had new disgruntled teachers. Then we had OTS 1, we have OTS 2, which is still running. And then you see, we have been doing a lot of things. And then now, as we already told you, we were supposed to have the National Forum on Education since 2017. It has not held. Who are we? I think we need to define who a teacher is. Oh. I said from the beginning, a teacher is that person who has been given the authority to take care, to make sure that children are trained, are taught in the right way and with the right content and material. So if we fold our arms and sit and we see that things are not being done, we are going to be blamed for that. So it is the right time. We have really been clamoring. We have other methods we have been trying to write. We have been trying to, like my colleague said here, we wrote to the Minister of Labor and we talked about the issue of private teachers. Please, let's have a collective agreement so that we should know that some of them even receive salaries that are far beyond the minimum wage, as my colleague rightly said. Yeah. So you see, it is, we have really, I don't know whether we could call correct OTSBs that we have over-endured. And that is why we have come together as one big family to ask the government to do what it is supposed to do.
Gentlemen, just permit, you have 6 demands. Yeah. Among the 6, are there priorities that you think that if they are quickly addressed, you will retreat?
No, we have been given priorities before. Okay. We are saying that the National Forum on Education is not held, so that the educational system should be changed. We have an educational system that is obsolete, that is maybe a new colonial kind of teaching people to read and learn, teaching people, I don't know what so we have to do that in the National Education Forum. We have a special status which should not be negotiated. Let me give you an example. Maybe I talk too much. I'm a teacher anyway. Yes. I attended at the Advanced Teachers Training School here in Yaoundé. And we know we are neighbors with the NAM.
Yes.
There are texts, there are laws that have been enacted in this country, which say that once you enter a NAM or a call normal, you receive something at the end of the month, some kind of a scholarship. I am telling you, those of a NAM receive it, and the neighbors, Ernest, we don't receive it. What do you call that? Are we not Cameroonians?
Discrimination.
Yes. Okay. So we have waited. It is not a question of
maybe the text of application is not out.
Okay, let me just take one other message. Good afternoon, everyone in the studio. I think that the government of Cameroon cares less about private school teachers, the reason why proprietors exploit teachers. I think that the government should implement laws and regulations in the private schools that will ameliorate the living standards of private school teachers, like imposing the minimum wage and months of payment, as well as other favorable conditions. That's coming from Dennis Me from Douala. Yes. Okay. And another thing, again, teachers of the private school, most of them are paid for 9 months because some proprietors believe that they cannot pay teachers when they are not working. Yeah. So, Ernest AKOUFOU, I think we have very few minutes left. We will try to look at the way forward.
I think the way forward should be the harmonization such that we don't have this palaver of private teachers of the private sector, teachers of the public sector. How should that be? Education is an inalienable right, okay? Yeah. And it is of the interest of the government of Cameroon to see into it that her citizens are well trained, well educated. And I would propose that government does the training of teachers and then maybe recruiting more teachers too, because some of the teachers in the private sector are poorly paid because it is believed they are poorly trained. They don't have the qualification. So if the government has to train the teachers before posting to these schools, I think it will be good. Secondly, the National Forum on Education is very important because when you look at the falling standards in education, yes, the standards have fallen. There's no gainsaying about that. Maybe people don't see it. It's not a matter of having a curricula where children carry fabulous bags to school and all of this. No, sir, that is not it. And then when I think professional education should start from the base, even from the nursery. Those are some of the things which the government should look into now. Not that when you have attained basic education before you start getting professional. No, when you get into the nursery, they start with the toys they are given. You can from there begin to know, okay, this child can be good in this field. This one can be good in this field. When he or she goes to the primary, the basic education, you keep it up there. That's what prevails in China. Most of the toys we have around here are produced by children in the nursery. People be marveled by it to say, but that's not it. It's it. So, and then good faith. Good faith. Hyncenth, the teachers are treated with a lot of bad faith. I'm sorry to say it, but I must say it. They're treated with a lot of bad faith, especially teachers of the private sector. Yeah, because the businessmen, the Shylocks, they just do what they can do over them. And since there is no government protection, you see, parents like us, we suffer a lot with the private sector, with a high fee, which is being paid there. So if government can step in to see what they can do, I think that will be a welcome initiative. Okay.
Abel, what should the government be doing at this point in time to arrest the situation, which you and I will not want to prevail because we are all parents. We know what it takes maybe for children to miss out from school for 1 week. What should the government be doing at this point in time?
Putting man at the center of his priority.
Okay.
You got it that the text says that 20% of the educational budget should be invested back into the sector. And if we are having 14%, it means that we are not putting it as a priority. I believe that if we put man at the center of the priority, even our private school teachers will have a better life because you, proprietor, when you do registration of 500 students for 15,000 francs, you already have more than 15 million francs CFA into your bank account, and your teachers don't have dota of money. You should ask yourself, if they join the whole world and give to you,
what will you do with it?
What will you do with it? So you discover that you said something which is very pertinent. The most difficult period on the life of a private education teacher is the 3 months period of holidays.
Yes.
You see, sometimes they look for numbers, and I strongly believe we don't have to reduce our teachers to languedocs. It is very bad fit because it reduce their personality in front of our children who sometimes do not respect them. So we should look at man at the center of priority if we want to have a better society, if we want to fight against what Nelson Mandela said, that if we want to destroy a nation, we should destroy the educational system. So the government should think about that statement and look at the life of the teachers. The future is very bright.
The future is very bright. Mr. YUNGSI, government has always talked of progressive steps. in solving the problems of teachers. And some have the impression that if you are asking for too much, especially when the government respected her voice last year and year before last, don't you think that the government is still working very hard to continue with the progressive steps to address all the problems you are listing here?
That is I don't know, sorry, I'm laughing. I'm trying to comprehend. I want to put the things together, but they don't just work out.
Try as much as possible to put it the way you can.
It's not going, because when I told you before that the Prime Minister himself signed a decision, and then according to that decision, the National Forum of Education was supposed to be held in 2017. So is it that they were naive? Is it that somebody did that at gunpoint, such that they are doing? So they themselves have been. We talked about the head of department, for example, whose allowances were supposed to be paid from 2012 and up to date. Nothing has been done about that. So how do you blame teachers for that? So it's just we are saying that we really love the country, and to be very frank, we really love this country. We maybe if this program were to go for 1 week straight, that's when we could try to see if we could exhaust what we have in our minds. That's why you see us speaking from left. Sometimes we leave and then we go and pick some other right and things like that. So it is a very difficult situation for teachers. Coming back to the private sector, we are not ignorant of what is happening there. It is terrible. It is really terrible. Proprietors are Cameroonians, and the government's role is to regulate what happens in the society. So they are to do that, and we have reminded them about that. Please put order in this sector. It is terrible. We have done that. I told you COREC is just a year old, but they have already done that. Trade unions had already done that in the past. We came as COREC, and we have also done that. So you cannot that cannot be blamed on us, but rather on the government that has let that laissez-faire attitude to prevail. Okay, let me give the pride of place to the lone lady on set to have your final word in less than 1 minute, please.
Well, I will just answer your question that you asked, that if the government does which one on our 6 points we are going to. In fact, the government can just do the 6 points because it is all about signing a decree. It's not just like, take an example, when the government decided to organize a grand national dialogue. How long did it take them to organize it? Why is it that the national forum becomes an issue of cracking the head? It is just by decree. The head of departments, the payment of the incentives for examiners of the baccalaureate board and even the GCE board, though we did not mention it, the appointment of those head of departments, the national forum are only things they can do. The government can get up tomorrow morning and say, okay, the national forum will organize this day and this will be the agenda. Simple. We are not asking for heaven. And people say we ask much. Yes, what has the government done? He has paid what was due. It's not as if the government has added money to us.
The government has paid her debt.
Yes, it is the debt that they are paying. It's not as if they have done something extraordinary or they have added money to teachers. They didn't do that. They didn't. So we're just expecting the government to sign some decrees and publish them and take an oath, a commitment before the nation that this national forum, education forum, will be organized. And that is what we're asking for. We're not like.
Thank you so much, gentlemen and lady, for coming. Unfortunately, we don't have much time. I see you still have a lot of things to say, but we always have another opportunity to say all we did not say today. If you missed out on anything, the rebroadcast of this program is on Wednesday at 10:30 p.m. Until we meet again next Saturday, stay blessed and stay safe. Thanks for watching.